Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron. I hope you're having a great day or night in Jesus. We're in our journey, verse by verse, through the book of Proverbs. We're in lesson 69 today. Check out our other 68 lessons. They're in a playlist. Some people say there's 3 or 4 missing maybe from the playlist. I don't know where they're at, but you can get most of the book of Proverbs to this point. So let's get started. We just read a verse and keep going. We've also done Matthew, Romans, Genesis, and again Proverbs here. Proverbs I like to call the Christian's New Converts class. It's an epistle in the Old Testament, whereas you teach new converts doctrine, but this would teach them how to live practically in everyday life. So we're in 23:26, and it says this, "My son, give me thine heart." Now who's speaking here? Solomon, wisdom, something like that. Some would say his mother. But anyhow, it's something speaking, maybe just God himself. "My son," which is wisdom, "my son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways." So we should say unto wisdom, which is God, "God, here's my heart, direct me. His word is a lamp unto our feet and a light unto our path. Let thine eyes observe my ways." So let me walk the way of wisdom. I will tell you, one of the things when I was growing up in Pentecost and church that you heard a lot of teaching on was walking in the way of wisdom, walking as wise people. Man, I can't even remember the last time I heard anybody teaching about the way of wisdom. And, you know, it's all emotion. If we can get the music just right and the sound is just right, and we paid $100,000 for the sound system and it's just right, and we can get everybody hopping up and down, and they dress fantastic and got gel in their hair and you know, good high heels for the ladies, then man, we are going to have church. And, you know, you just hear very little about the way of wisdom. So verse 27, and this is something all throughout the book of Proverbs, is contrasting wisdom, which in Proverbs 8 seen as a woman, with a whore. Now, as you study in the book of Proverbs as well, like the Jews really bring this out, that false religion is looked at as like spiritual adultery. I don't know that phraseology exactly is, but committing adultery against God is, you know, that's big themes all throughout much of the Old Testament. And so there's that level of connotation there as well. And so, but this is, you know, Paul telling Timothy, you know, Paul, the converted Pharisee, flee youthful lust. This is part of that. So, for a whore is a deep ditch, okay? Like Joseph got thrown in a deep ditch, you're not getting out. So stay away from prostitutional women. That doesn't mean God doesn't love them, they need to be saved and all that, but that lifestyle is not of God. Obviously, it's action. And a strange woman is a narrow pit. I remember when I was in Nepal walking through the jungle, there was rhinoceroses all around, and the natives could kill rhinos. And I'm like, and so they would cut off their horns, sell them to Chinese investors and things for aphrodisiacs. And I was like, well, how do these natives kill these massive rhinos? They said a rhino relieves himself, uses the restroom same place every day. So when they find a big thing of rhino guano, they just dig a deep ditch, a narrow ditch between right in front of it, and the rhino backs up to it, falls in, then they spear to death, kill it, cut off its horn, and sends it. I love rhino. Rhinoceros is one of my favorite creatures in all the world, and I've been psychoanalyzed about that as well. I just love rhinos. But a strange woman's a narrow pit. I mean, you're just not getting out. Verse 28, "She also lieth in wait as for a prey." Job talks about this as well. It's also mentioned in other places in Proverbs, and increases the transgressors among men. And this is the reason that the eye is the light of the soul, If the light that's in you be darkness, how great is that darkness? Pornography, immodest dressing is going to bring in the Antichrist because it brings darkness to your soul. That's the reason you'll see me every so often on the YouTube community stuff I'll do. I'm just going to throw in, never, ever, regardless of what you do, ever view pornography, because it's destructive on many, many levels. Not just for the person, but for the other person as well. It's destructive. I find it fascinating, you know, like I'll read Daily Caller website, and they tend to have a lot of testimonies of people who are in the adult industries of certain things, females that become some type of Christian because they realize it's extremely degrading to them. And don't think demonic spirits don't get involved in there too. I'm not saying all of them are demon possessed, but I am saying there's demonic spirits in that. So it increases the transgressors among men. Verse 29, it's going to go into alcohol. Who hath woe? Who hath sorrow? Who hath contentions? Sounds like a drunk, doesn't it? Who hath babbling? Drunk people. Who hath wounds without cause? Drunk people. Who hath redness of eyes? Drunk people. So there is 6 questions there, I think. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 6 questions. Verse 30, they that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine, so alcoholic wine, they would use a little wine. Notice not drink, use, like to purify water, 1 part wine for every 20 part water, but it wasn't ever to get drunk with. Remember, it says in Proverbs, it's not for kings to drink wine, and we're kings and priests with Jesus. We're supposed to be sober-minded. I've done a review on the tract, 75 Bible Reasons Not to Drink Alcohol. I always remember 100 years ago, it was a constitutional amendment that alcohol was illegal in the United States of America. A lot of people say Joe Kennedy helped get that, and that's the reason there's the Kennedy curse. I don't know, but I've heard preachers preach that before. Verse 31, look not thou upon the wine when it is red, when it giveth his color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright, when it becomes alcoholic, when it becomes fermented. At the last it biteth like a serpent, sounds like Muhammad Ali, and stingeth like an adder. Verse 33, thine eyes shall behold strange women. It's like that old joke. People say, the drunker I got, the prettier you get. Well, I'll behold strange women. Thine heart shall utter perverse things, all kind of stupid stuff. It's not called spirits for no reason. Verse 34, yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth in the midst of the sea, blah. Or as he that lieth upon the top of a mast, blah. They have stricken me, shalt thou say, and I was not sick. They have beaten me, and I felt it not. When shall I awake? I will seek it yet again. Isn't that crazy? Guy works in construction or on roofs or some horrible, hard job all week. He gets his $1,000, and then immediately he goes to the bar, wastes it, spends $200, wakes up with a headache, feels horrible, gets STDs, just awful, and he says, well, I'll do it again, I'll have a good time. Sits on the porcelain god throwing up, you know. That's not a good time. You can get the Holy Ghost, and that's a great time. And you get it forever, and it can actually solve your problems rather than mask your problems. So God bless. Let's keep looking at this way of wisdom. We'll see you later. Check out our other videos. We love you. Bye-bye.